Okay, let's run.
Your mission, should you choose to accept it.
It's a quest. It's a quest for fun.
Well, The Rock says, why don't we just cut right to the chase?
Okay, now he wants to get together. Well, he wants to talk.
I want you to do me a favor. I want you to tell all your friends about me.
It's showtime, folks!
What are you?
Greetings and salutations. Welcome to And I Quote, the weekly show where we introduce you to content creators of all shapes and sizes that join us from many and all corners of the nerd universe. We find out more about them and we take your questions. I am your host, Ryan of Nerd Culture, and our guests, that's right, plural, this week is the creative team behind a new Kickstarter for a great story known as Depths. Please welcome Dalton Shannon, Wells Thompson to the set. Welcome, gentlemen. How are we?
Hey,
we're doing great.
How about you?
Doing well, man. Thank you both for being here. We greatly appreciate it. If you have any questions for Dalton or Wells as we go throughout the course of this episode, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. If this is your first time joining us, welcome. Don't forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends. And without any further ado, and whoever, oh, look, Fur Baby on camera 3. This is wonderful. We're getting up to a roaring start. Meow. So, exactly. There's the Fur Baby. I was wondering where that was coming from. What is the name of this one?
Quaylag.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Dark Souls boss, if any of you are keeping track at home.
Okay, I was wondering where they were going to go with this, but cool. All right, Fur Baby alert on camera 3. That is so cute. Yeah. But without any further ado, gentlemen, whoever wants to go first on this, please, by all means. How were you both individually introduced to the world of comics?
Comics for me was.
I think he was born with a copy of Action Comics #1 in his hand.
If only. That'd be great. No. I grew up on like all the 90s cartoons, Batman, Spider-Man, all that good stuff. So I was like obsessed with superheroes from a very early age. I don't remember a world without Batman in it. But at one point I was like, I think it was about 8. Was walking in a grocery store and I'm convinced I saw the final spinner rack in existence, and it had a really striking John Romita Jr. Spider-Man on it. And I was like, I know Spider-Man, give me that. And I just flipped through it and fell in love. And I was like, you mean I can get Spider-Man like this I don't have to wait for it to come on TV. I can get the comics. And I've never looked back. It's been comics since I was 8 years old. Even further if you want to count like newspaper strips, but Garfield was an early obsession. But comic books, I was 8 and I never looked back, and that's all I've ever known and wanted to do, and thankfully that's what I'm doing, or else I'd go crazy.
And what about you, Wells?
Yeah, I think I had probably a very mainstream like introduction to comics and superheroes in general, which is I watched Justice League and Justice League Unlimited and Batman the Animated Series, Batman Beyond, all those shows, Static Shock, like growing up, and they left an impression on me, and I thought they were fantastic. But it wasn't like I didn't dive into the world of actual comics. I just kind of absorbed it secondhand like that. And then in high school, I was already at that point convinced I wanted to be a writer, and I got introduced to Watchmen, which is a terrible onboarding spot for like, it's a great book, but it's a terrible place to start. But I fell in love with it and started reading more and more comics from like a lot of literary stuff, especially back then, like Persepolis and Craig Thompson's Blankets and stuff like that. But also Scott Pilgrim versus the World and sort of more fun stuff like that. And slowly, I got introduced more and more to the world of indie comics, most dramatically by Dalton, the other man on the screen. He's always been. He's like, I'm a writer, but I'm a comic writer. That's my thing. That's what I'm gonna do. And we were like, you're in college. Shut up. You don't know what you're doing. And he got me more and more into it. As a result of like, okay, well, comics seem to be where we're headed. Comics seem to be what we're good at writing. So I got I hesitate to call it a job because they didn't pay me, but I was a contributor for
A gig.
Comic Book Yeti. Yeah, I got a gig as a reviewer for Comic Book Yeti, and that opened me up to a whole world of indie comics, stuff like Coffin Bound by Dan Waters and Danny, and Giga, and like Volt, and Image, and just, you know, Scouts, major indie publishers. And that sort of opened my eyes to what comics can be and do. So yeah, that's sort of how I made my way into this weird space that I'm in.
Weird space, a whole new world. Anyway, there's a movie line for you if I ever heard one. That movie just turned 30 last year, believe it or not. Can you believe that?
Well,
Because I just turned 30 last
we both.
Really? You're only 21? Jeez, you're a baby, dude.
No,
I know. I'm kidding.
No. I mean, this face looks 21. I won't lie to you.
This face will look 17 until the end of time. But no, the body is. My body is like a temple, decrepit and most likely haunted.
Boy, that sounds dark and creepy. But let's lighten things up, shall we? So with that being said, and once again, thank you for sharing that with us. What would you say were some of your any other names that stand out to you as far as favorite comic book writers or artists? Any other names stand out to either of you?
Oh man.
Just say the line, Bart. Say the line.
Past or present?
Yeah. Grant Morrison is my ride or die.
There it is.
Morrison changed my life. John Romita Jr. is probably my favorite working artist right now. Jack Kirby. Gene. I love Gene Colan, but I'm thinking of why can't I think of Gil Kane? I love Gil Kane. Andy Kubert's really. I like Andy Kubert. I've been getting into a lot of artists over the past like 5 years. I was a writer guy when I was first thinking I wanted to get into comics. So I was following like Scott Snyder and Jonathan Hickman, and I discovered Steve Gerber. But it's a lot of artists now. Daniel Warren Johnson, it's electric. So yeah, all those guys like Bill Watterson, they all just kind of mold into what I'm doing. But it's mostly, end of the day, everything I do is a combination of Grant Morrison or Jack Kirby in some way.
It's true.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, for me, so starting off, it was very like Alan Moore, and going more broadly in the literary direction, like Kurt Vonnegut and Jennifer Egan and Ernest Hemingway and F. Scott Fitzgerald. Like those were my major influences. Nowadays, Dan Waters' Coffin Bound, I absolutely love. What is it? Brian Lee O'Malley, the Scott Pilgrim in Seconds, and let's see. Most recently, Caitlin Smith has been absolutely blowing me away. She has written a couple of mega omnibuses for For Goodness Sake and Plume that I've read, and they are phenomenal. She is such a good storyteller. It makes me upset. And we have had the privilege of being able to work with her on one of our comics as a cover artist. So that was very much a highlight of our last couple of Kickstarters, was getting to work with her. But yeah, she's incredibly inspiring to me.
Wow, great creative minds coming together. It's great. Mm-hmm. Now, you mentioned this property earlier, but I'm just curious for both of you. What would you say are some of your favorite comic book-based movies or television series that are past or present? Any thoughts on that?
I mean, Doom Patrol's the GOAT.
Doom Patrol, yeah.
Wow.
Doom Patrol's 100%. Excellent. It's probably the best comic book adaptation of the past 10 years. Like nothing excites me anymore when it comes to the comic book adaptations. So I just I tune out when I see the new trailers. But no, Doom Patrol's excellent. I mean, everyone likes Endgame. Endgame's fun. If a little bloated. Yeah, those are probably the big ones. I'm looking forward to like Fantastic Four and Superman Legacy and Supergirl, just because, I stan Supergirl.
That's true.
But
he has multiple statues.
Yeah, I love that girl to death. But for the most part, I tend to not dip my toes in unless like it's really exciting. Like Wakanda Forever was excellent. But other than that, I'm just like, yeah, that's cool. Have fun, kids.
For me, let's see. For TV shows, I actually really like She-Hulk. I mean, if we're going old school, definitely the Batman the Animated Series.
The DCAU stuff is great.
Justice League Unlimited in general, just like that whole, the first one and Unlimited, both were incredible and incredibly influential on me. Scott Pilgrim vs. the World is my favorite movie. There, I said it. It's perfect. You can't take it away from me. And I'll go ahead and just say the anime that they're making is going to be my favorite show on TV. When I'm going to re-up my Netflix subscription, which I let die, just to watch that. Movies wise, Into the Spider-Verse, one of my favorite recent comic book movies. I don't think I get any like originality points for saying that, but it is just so good. It's brilliant. And other than I'm trying to think if there's anything. Doom Patrol, it was phenomenal as Dalton already put his finger on.
Like Harley Quinn.
Oh yeah, the Harley Quinn animated show was really good. I love that show. Like I thought it really nailed what it was going for. You do have to get used to that version of the characters and that version of Batman, which can be a bit jarring, but it is a lot of fun and it works. One of the very few properties that I'm like rated R superheroes. Generally, I'm anti that, but that I think works just fine.
Wow, some good names thrown out here. Jeez. And it's interesting. Dalton, you said you're a big Supergirl fan? Is that true, Dalton? You love Supergirl. Okay, so I'm just curious. Have you read the Daring New Adventures of Supergirl run from the 80s by Paul Kupperberg?
You did. And I felt the way I felt about it the same way I feel about all of Kupperberg's work. Is that it's fine. Kupperberg is a competent writer in my mind. I was not a fan of what he did with Doom Patrol at all. But it's and to be fair, that was like some of the first Kupperberg stuff I read, so that might color my opinion going forward. But there's a lot of Kupperberg was one of those like, Wells, are you mixing something?
Yes, I apologize. I was just about to mute.
Okay.
What's going on back there?
No, Kupperberg was one of those journeyman writers who was able to just like, if you needed something written, he can do it, and it'll make sense and it'll work, and it shouldn't be too offensive one way or the other. But I never got super invested in his work personally.
No pun intended.
Right.
See what I did there? But anyway, no, I hear what you're saying. This is where you and I are going to be on opposite sides of the fence. And listen, everything is subjective. So for me, I love Daring New Adventures of Supergirl. I actually have an issue #1 signed by him and graded at a 7.5 on my shelf. So way to go, Paul Kupperberg. I love that series. No shame, brother. No shame. But hey, to each their own. It's okay. Yeah. I just thought I'd ask because you brought up Supergirl, and I'm thinking, wonder if he liked that series. Well, apparently he didn't like it so much, but that's okay because you know what they say, right? To each their own. Yeah. Good titles, good properties, good names thrown out there. Do not get me wrong. Once again, we are talking with the co-writers of the Kickstarter that's going on for a new graphic novel known as Depths here on the show. We have Dalton Shannon and Wells Thompson here with us on this episode of And I Quote. Don't forget to like and share this episode with all of your closest friends. If you have any questions for them, whether you're watching this live or on the replay, let us know in the comments. We would love to hear from you. With that being said, when did you guys decide to become writers?
Sixth grade.
I guess Wells is going to take the lead on
Tuesday, May 2nd, 1994.
It was the summer.
Yeah, are you pulling an M. Bison on me here, Wells? For me, it was Tuesday.
For me, it was Tuesday. No, one of the greatest line deliveries in all of cinema. In sixth grade, over the summer, they made us do required reading, and one of the books that I had to read was The Secret Garden, and I hated it so vehemently that I decided I could do it better and started writing short stories. And I was wrong because that book, looking back on it, wasn't that bad. And also I was in sixth grade. I was 12, 13. So I was a terrible writer, obviously. But I really enjoyed the process and I stuck with it and kept doing it. And by the time I was in high school, I was making stuff that I was relatively proud of and sort of stuck with it and never looked back. So yeah, it's been sort of a lifelong ambition for me. I love writing and I want to make it my full-time gig, as it were.
Yeah, and as for me, it was the same year I discovered comics in general. I was that same year, I also discovered the Captain Underpants novels by Dave Pilkey. And in those books, 2 8-year-old boys make their own comics about their own superhero. And I was like, well, if they could do it, I'm 8, I can do that. And so I just started like hand stapling my own comics, and I never looked back. It got to a point where about high school where I noticed that my writing skills were far surpassing my art skills, and I was having more fun doing the writing, and I just wasn't putting the work in for the art. So I was like, you know what, I'm gonna focus on the writing, and ever since then I've been like, okay, I'm a writer. And then recently, over the past 5 years, I've been getting into more artists, and I was like, I'm gonna draw again. And so now I'm trying to balance both of them. But for 90% of the time, I'm a writer, and I've been a writer since I was 8. And there's no stopping it, honestly.
Right on, man. And Wells, what would you say are some of the rewards about being a writer?
Not money.
I was gonna say, it's all personal, like deep senses of satisfaction and no money, and no, it's it's incredibly creatively fulfilling. It's my favorite thing to do, even when it's hard. It's easily my favorite thing to do is just to go to a coffee shop and put in my headphones and plug away at a script. Do edits or come up with a new scene, and even sometimes it's 30 pages in a day, and sometimes it's I get to halfway through a page and I'm like, I am exhausted and I can't do any more of this because it's absolutely not working or something's wrong. Either way, it's if I had a choice, it's all that I would do. As far as work goes, because it is work, it's hard work, but it is extremely fulfilling. It's also really, really rewarding to get to talk to people who have read the work and have been affected by it. We run into one of my favorite moments still to this day, being a comic book writer, is we were at a convention in Conway, Arkansas, and it was a year after we started doing conventions. That same con was our first con that we ever did the previous year. And little girl came up to us, I'm going to say 11 years old probably. And she was like, hey, I bought a comic from you guys last year and I really liked it. Do you have more? And we were like, yes, we have all of these. And she was like, I want all of them. We were like, this is the coolest moment of my life. It was just that someone read it and remembered us and actually enjoyed it enough to want more. That's where it is for me, is just if I can affect people with my ideas and stories, then it gives me all the happiness in the world.
Rock on. Dalton, what about you?
Oh, I'm the exact opposite. I'm a selfish creator. No, there's plenty of fulfilling gratification when it comes to creating and writing. I mostly use writing as like either a source of therapy or a way to just like get this thing that's driving me nuts out onto paper. Once a book is like done, like we made Frankenstein the Unconquered #1. That issue is out in the world. I don't care if anybody ever reads it. It's done. It's me. It's mine. It's like, this is my book. I'm going to flip through it and I'm going to enjoy it. This is mine. I'm glad people grabbed it and enjoy it and have fun with it. But that's not why I write personally. I write to create the thing, and then I move on and create the next thing. I'm a very selfish creator in that regard. But I love that people have been responding to the work, and that way I get to keep doing it.
Absolutely. I can completely understand that. And on the flip side of the coin, though, here, Dalton, what would you say are some of the biggest challenges about being a writer?
Working with Wells Thompson.
Yeah, he's such a pain. He is such a pain in the neck, isn't he? I can't stand this guy. No, I'm kidding.
No, writing can be incredibly taxing, especially if that's what you've done like all day. It's mental gymnastics a lot of the time. It's puzzle solving. So your brain is having to constantly be engaged at all hours, trying to get, even when you're not like actively working on the book, your brain's churning something in the back, and like you'll get an aha moment just washing dishes or something. So that can be exhausting. But honestly, I think, and why comics is so awesome is that writing in and of itself is a very solitary experience. And I love my solitude. I like that, those moments where I can just be by myself and I can just write, and I don't have to answer to anybody. I don't have to explain to Wells why this explosion works. I can just put it there. It's great. But it's lonely, and getting to work with other collaborators, whether that be other writers or artists, they can look and be like, I don't know if that explosion works, and then I get to like either talk my way out of it or like admit that I'm wrong. So like it's hard, but it's the best thing in the world to do, because I get to just like play with little pieces all day and solve little puzzles, and I don't know, that's cool to me.
And once again, we are talking with the co-writers of the graphic novel known as Depths here on this episode of And I Quote. Both Dalton Shannon and Wells Thompson are here with us. Don't forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends. If you have any questions for them, whether you're watching this live or on the replay, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Be more than happy to hear from you. Wells, what is the best piece of advice you could give to someone who is an aspiring writer?
Don't.
Don't do it.
I don't need the competition, man.
No, it's
I'm kidding.
I mean, I think absolutely going for it is
yes,
is the best way to go about it. Particularly with comics, you just have to start making them. There's no right, and you're gonna fuck it up, like inevitably. Hopefully, you have a salvageable enough comic by the end of it. It's still worth putting out. But like the only way you learn is by doing. But I think practically, the most like practical piece of advice I can give is probably be prepared to wear a lot of hats, because it's not just writing. I don't know if it ever was. Like maybe like in my head, there's a golden era where you could just sit at a typewriter all day long and send it to an editor, and they would make something happen. And if you would have a book on the other side, you would never have to do anything else about it. You never have to go out and market it or do anything else. But that's just not how the world works anymore. You kind of have to be a personality as well. You have to be on social media all the time and market the book and be the the general manager, the project manager, and wrangle everybody to make sure the pages are getting made and put out on time. And you have to research what paper quality is like and what printers can do what. There's so much work that goes into it. You have to treat it like it's a full business, full-time job that you're doing, that you're engaging with to write comics. And that can be really exhausting and daunting. It's also incredibly rewarding. So I encourage people to go after it. Just know that you're not getting into anything small. This is a huge undertaking.
But by the time you get the book in your hands, like you forget you forget how exhausting all that was, and then you're stupid enough to do it again. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Any words of wisdom from you, Dalton?
I told you don't.
Don't do it? Okay, all right, that sounds about right.
No, I think Wells kind of hit it on the head with the first bit, is just do it. Like it's not a matter of if you're ready or if you're skilled enough or any of that nonsense. If you want to do it, the only way you're going to get better at doing it is doing it. You can't build a resume by like saying someday. You got to just like do it. The only way to make comics and to get into comics and be a comics writer is to make comics. Whether and like this was something that was hard for me to learn personally, because I was like set in the writer's mindset, and I was like, if I can just find an artist to collaborate with, everything will be great, and my stuff will get out there and people will love it. It's great. And what I didn't realize is one, artists don't work for free, and two, nobody wants to draw my stupid stuff. Like it was not gonna fly. And so I had to be like, okay, do I want to do this or not? The answer was, I guess so. And so I had to draw it all myself. And so Wells and I we would co-write little 8-page ash cans, and I would draw them. They're horrible. They're really well written. I really like those ash cans. They are horrible though.
They are like, not horrible. They look fine.
They're fine. But like I don't like looking at them anymore because my drawings are not. I was learning to draw for the first time essentially, and they're very tough to get through. But we were able to take those to cons, and we were able to put them in hands. People seem to like them. We were able to have an actual editor look at them and be like, I can't use this art, but these stories are good. And we're like, cool. And then he hooked us up with some artists, and like it just kept cascading from there because we just did it, even if it wasn't gonna be good. We just did it. And so that's probably the biggest piece of advice I can give any creative person if you're like trying to start out or not sure. Just like don't think about it and just do it.
Yeah. And kind of add on to that, your mistakes, like don't be afraid of the mistakes because they do happen, but they almost always like cascade into something good. Yeah. We started doing way too big of conventions way too early for what we were. And like we lost money doing that, but we also met editors, we met artists, we were able to turn that into future connections and relationships that helped get us to where we are today. So everything happens. I'm not going to say for a reason, but everything happens, and you can usually spin it into something positive.
There you go. So in other words, take the advice of Shia LaBeouf. Just do it.
Just do it.
Make your dreams come true.
I mean, honestly, that's probably one of the best promotional, like to pump up videos. I watch it every morning.
Don't let your dreams be memes.
It's
don't
coffee.
let your dreams be dreams.
Yeah, it's coffee and LaBeouf. That's how I start my days. Like, and then I'm ready.
Yesterday, you said tomorrow. Right. See, and Wells, for those of you maybe listening on the audio feed, Wells is doing the poses that the great Shia LaBeouf does during that promo, which believe it or not, that was actually filmed in front of a green screen, and it's fortunate that he was, because everyone on the internet has taken that green screen footage and they've morphed it into something else. So
beautiful. It is.
They've incorporated it into different movies, which is kind of funny. If you want to know, if you don't know what I'm talking about, just go on YouTube after you're done watching this incredible episode of And I Quote, and you understand what I'm saying.
Just do it. Just type in those words.
You'll get Nike. You'll get Nike. Words. You should probably put Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, well, you should type in "just do it" Shia LaBeouf, and then it'll come up eventually. But other than that, I do want to let you know, for those of you maybe watching or listening to us on the audio feed, there's a brand new Kickstarter that's blowing up the interwebs, and it's called Depths, which is a graphic novel. So, Dalton, Wells, tell us a little bit about Depths. How did this all come about?
Well, those are two very different questions, but Depths is it's a 112-page graphic novel about Emil Parker, a scientist in the 1930s who creates an perpetual underwater breathing suit, a diving suit, and gets stuck in the ocean for 3 years and has to figure out how to survive. Science fiction adventure drama. I don't know exactly how to characterize it, but it's a very character-driven book, sort of detailing the struggles of this guy and his friends on the surface who are trying to find him. Reads very much like The Martian meets 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea.
Rock on.
Yeah.
And how did this all come about for you two?
Depression.
That's also another word that begins with the letter D, just like the word depths.
Yeah, no, it definitely, Depths was born from us just like being young and directionless and alone. For me, it was like one of the deepest depressions, or at least one of the first depressions that I had sunk through. And I just kind of stream of consciousness, just kind of like, there's the first script. And the diving suit was just so like evocative in my head. The image, most things I write just start with a really cool image. And I'm like, what's that about? So it grew from there, and then it died. It just died. I couldn't figure it out. And then I was able to meet up with Wells and handed it to him. And he was like, oh no, I get this. Like, this is really cool. Can I take a crack at it? And he was able to bring it back to life. And we thankfully, because now we have this Kickstarter, and it's alive.
That's a joke because we do Frankenstein the Unconquered as well. No, yeah, it was sort of born out of our. For me, it was like I've struggled with depression and anxiety my entire life. So Dalton came up with this idea of a guy trapped underwater in a diving suit, unable to get out, and I was just like, yeah, the way to everything about this, just the weight of having to live under that, the constant fear of like what's around the corner, being paralyzed by like it being in a huge open ocean with seemingly limitless possibilities, but also nowhere to go. It's like this maps so cleanly onto my experience with dealing with these emotions. So yeah, just saying it immediately, I was like, I know what this is about. I know this person. I have to get my hands on this. And Dalton was generous enough with his ideas to let me do that. And now we've kind of molded it into our shared image of what this is. Yeah,
and for better or for worse, it's led to everything since. It was our first collaboration.
Yeah,
and we had to learn how to work together while we were learning how to make depths happen. And it's led to Mechaton, Frankenstein, Descent into Dread, all the goodies.
Man, really cool stuff, and congratulations on the Kickstarter, and we wish you the best luck with it moving forward. What are some of the cool things that backers can expect to get as some of the reward tiers here?
Let's see. We've got if you don't have a lot of cash, that's totally cool. We've got lower reward tiers for you. You can get just chapter 1. You can get the digital copy. Don't have to worry about shipping. But you can get the paperback copy with the A cover. Starts at $30. For $10 more, you get Serge Acuña's variant cover. For $10 more than that, we have the hardcover. Those are kind of your base tiers. Then we have collector's tiers. We have sort of aggregate everything tiers where you get all of the add-ons at a discounted price. So we have stickers and enamel pins and posters that you can get. As well as an anthology that features the first time we use these characters in a published form. So Serge Acuña did a story for us in that's like has the characters, but it's more of a fantasy horror setting than what the finished book turned out to be. And then if you want to spend spend quite a bit of cash, we have options for you as well. We've got commissions from the artist Jay Sheik. So if you want a really awesome, unique character commission, he will do that for you. He will draw that for you. Limited supply, so grab it while it lasts. And if you want to be drawn into the book, we have some tiers for that as well. So at $300, you get to be drawn in as a background character. At $600, you can be drawn in and get a line of dialogue as well. And at $1,000, you become an entire minor character. You have a full scene or two that you'll be featured in with dialogue that will actually like affect the story.
Wow.
Yeah.
This is heavy. There's that word again, heavy. Why are things so heavy in the future? Is there a problem with the Earth's gravitational pull? Anyway, I couldn't help it. That's one of my favorite movies of all time, and it's endlessly rewatchable, but that's just my 2 cents on the matter. So
no, that's true. That's true.
It is. It's fact. Yeah, thank you. Finally, someone who speaks English. Did that just happen? Anyway, so that's another line from another comic movie. But anyway, I digress. Well, this looks really cool. Looks fascinating. Kind of reminds me a bit of you mentioned some of these earlier, but it kind of reminds me of The Abyss a little bit.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Just a bit, because I finally saw, that movie's X amount of years old, and I finally saw it during the lockdown, and I realized, boy, this movie is dark. And they go really deep in this movie. Like, they not just deep in the ocean, but like, no wonder it's called The Abyss, because there is some serious messed up stuff that happens to these underwater explorers in this story. Kind of what's somewhat similar to what's happening with your character.
For sure. Yeah, we wanted to take it into more of a psychological route, but same thing, yeah. And the ocean is endlessly fascinating. We did not have to do a lot of inventing to come up with sea monsters and terrifying scenarios, and you can just pull from what's there. It's all big and wants to eat you. Nothing down there is made for humans to live. So the struggles and the conflict just kind of came about naturally.
Well, outside of The Abyss, do you guys have a favorite movie that takes place mostly underwater that you enjoy watching endlessly?
Endlessly?
Ooh.
Or rewatchable, maybe?
I'm trying to think. I mean, Jaws is a classic. It doesn't really take place underwater so much, but honestly, the movie that comes to mind for me is The Martian, which it's not underwater, but it's that same kind of extremely hostile environment trying to survive, doing everything you can to just barely get by and living with yourself and your thoughts. That was a big influence on the story. So,
yeah. Now, open water terrifies me, so I tend to stay away from. I'm I'm not a horror guy anyway, but much less underwater nonsense. Like, nope, no, thank you.
Yeah, not a and we had this idea like long before I played this game, but same vibes as Subnautica. If you've ever played that game,
I never even heard of this.
That game gave me thalassophobia, which is fear of open water. No, it's a similarly like guy stranded on an ocean planet with hostile fauna, just trying like to survive and get off. But it's absolutely gorgeous. It's a stunningly beautiful game that explores sort of these really interesting ideas of underwater biomes and survivalist lifestyle. It's great.
I'm gonna have to look this up. I was not aware of that.
Oh, you totally should. It's so good. It's so good.
Okay, I'll have to. In the words of our good friend Captain America, I'll add it to the list. Let me take that notebook out. Hold on. All right, here we go. Anywho, we are talking with the incredible Dalton Shannon and Wells Thompson on this very special episode of, and I quote, the co-writers of the new Kickstarter for their new graphic novel known as Depths. Don't forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends. If you have any questions for these kind gentlemen, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat. Whether you're watching this or listening to this live or on a replay, thank you so much for being with us. Do greatly appreciate it. Any other special memories for either of you from being at conventions or other events that stand out?
Ooh, tell them the Flash Kid story.
Oh yeah, no. So this was, where was this? Planet Comic-Con in Kansas City. We were playing, or I think I was solo that time. Dalton wasn't around, but cons are just long, like long days. You're just sitting there waiting for people to come by. It's a marathon every time, and that's a 3-day con. It was rough. But I was getting through, and I was just kind of in one of those hazes of like, oh, when's the next time I can stand up and have a small snack? And this little kid, like 6 or 7 years old, in a full red muscled out Flash costume, comes up to me and he's like, "What are your comics about?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, no, you'll like this one." And I handed him Mechaton, and I sort of explained the premise to him, which is, a brother and sister find a glove that turns anything it punches into a mech. And he ran over to his dad and went, Dad, I need this comic. It turns anything it punches into an awesome Power Ranger Transformer. I need it." And I was like, yeah, kid, you got it. That was fantastic. Just seeing the light in that kid's eyes, totally. It just like, yes, this is what I've been waiting for. Made me realize why we're writing that comic book, because it's the book that we wanted to read when we were kids. So yeah, I am glad that there are people finding it and really loving it for that reason.
Yeah. One of my favorite con memories is when Howard Mackey yelled at Wells because his signature wasn't legible enough. We got to talk to Howard Mackey quite a bit. He was actually the writer of that first Spider-Man comic I ever got. So I got him to sign it for me. And we struck up, we got along pretty well. Was it Fan Expo Chicago, right?
Chicago, yeah.
Yeah. Great guy. Love talking to Mackey.
Mm-hmm.
And he read the first issue of Mechaton, and he seemed to like it. And he had asked us to sign it earlier. And he came back to us and he's like, "Guys, I got to talk to you about these signatures. They are awful." And so he had to walk us through how to like do a legible, professional signature. And like Wells he's like, "Show me the signature." And Wells did the signature and he went, "No!" And just slammed the book down. I was like, "That's bad." And so it was a good time. I had a great time.
Oh, it was a lot of fun. And it encouraged me to practice my signature and make it better. I don't it's probably still not great, but it's better. So thanks, Howard. I appreciate that. That's off to you.
Jeez, did you ever get something signed, as it were, by Howard Mackey and got it graded?
No, I don't grade books.
Oh, you don't grade books? Okay.
No, I stay out of that mess.
It's okay. It's not for everybody. I understand.
No,
Plus, it costs you a pretty penny to get some of them graded, so I can understand why.
I've bought maybe a handful of graded books in my life, and every time I do, I crack them right open, and then I'll flip through them, I'll read them, and then they'll get a normal bag and board like everybody else, and go in the collection. Yeah, you're not special just because you're the first appearance of the Doom Patrol. You're going in the bag. You're good.
Someone out there is cringing horribly.
That's fine. Let them cringe.
Yeah.
Comics need to be read, man.
You know, to be perfectly honest with you, you're not the only person who shares that opinion, and to each their own, and that's okay. Some people collect one way, some people collect a different way. That's okay. There's nothing wrong with that.
No,
So
I've got good friends who grade, and I pray for them every day.
Wow.
And they're all cowards.
They're all cowards for getting upgraded. But anyway, gee willikers, I digress. Have either of you met outside of the writers and artists that you've seen at these conventions, or some of your fans who have come up to you and said, "Hey, I really like your books"? Have you met any actors or actresses or other people in the business?
Actors and actresses? No, because I always have to pay to get in the line, and I'm like, Chris Evans ain't worth that. No. I'm like, I think there was, I want to say there was somebody I thought about getting in line for, but it was so unimportant that I can't even remember who it was. Like I don't know. If I have to get in line and like pay, like I am required to like pay for an autograph just to stand in line and meet them, I'm not gonna do it. I almost did it with Jeff Johns, but I was like, nah. Johns, I like your Green Lantern stuff for what it is, but it's not worth $25 to stand in line. I'm sorry. So I don't. Yeah, unless I can just walk up to them and have a conversation and then ask them to sign my books, and then I'll buy something else from them if I want to, then I don't bother with it.
Yeah, I think I met an actress that was in like Jason X or something like that. One of the Friday the 13th movies. Yeah, and it was at Not Just Another Comic-Con, and it was a slow con, and she came over to my booth, and we had a nice conversation. She thought I was very handsome. But yeah, other than that, no. Artist Alley, celebrities do not tend to make themselves seen at Artist Alley, so it's for the peasants.
I will say, my brother has the best story about meeting a celebrity at a con. We were at Fan Expo Dallas. It was my first massive convention, everyone's first in our friend group. And we're walking around, and for whatever reason, Rob Schneider was at this convention. Don't ask me why. Rob Schneider was here. And Garrett was like, I want him to sign something. And I'm like, okay, what here would Rob Schneider have to do with anything? And he's like, well, I picked up this pack of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles 2 Secret of the Ooze trading cards. And I was like, did he have anything to do with that movie? And he's like, no. And he went and stood in line. He paid for the autograph. He gets up there and hands Rob Schneider the Ninja Turtle cards. And Schneider looks at it and goes, the hell is this? And my brother's like, I just thought it'd be funny. They're Ninja Turtle cards. And he's like, that is funny. And he signs the cards. And then Garrett, my brother, he takes the cards back. He's like, thanks, man. And then he turns to walk away. And then he turns back to Schneider and goes, you know what? All those Adam Sandler movies are funny because you're in them, not him. And Schneider was like, I'm going to tell him you said that. And then my brother just left and he's still, to this day, he's got it on display, a pack of Ninja Turtle trading cards signed by Rob Schneider.
That is Bossa Nova. Huh? What? Bossa Nova? Chevy Nova? No. Excellent. Yeah. Anyway, that's a TMNT OG movie line. But I will say this: the comic menu's in the building. He said that person says, "Hey, everyone."
Well, hello.
What's up?
What's up, comic menu? Good to see you. They also say, yeah, the prices at Comic Cons have increased by a lot. I'd always pay an artist over an actress, but that's just me.
Agreed.
I mean, it depends what you're there for. Like, if you're there to meet the hobbits, go meet the hobbits.
Yeah, sure. It's fine, but they got paid for their they got paid for their movie, and it's only 50-50.
And honestly, they got paid to be at the con too.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, that's.
Wouldn't it be great to be famous? Like, yes and no. Like, I want people to give me things for free, but I don't want people to bother me in my house. So,
well, good thing if you're a comic celebrity, you can have both. Because nobody cares enough to go to your house.
Jeez Louise. By the way, the comment menu goes on to say, comics for sure, laugh out loud. I gotta go. I was just jumping on a podcast also, but I'm following you both for the future.
Rock on.
Awesome. Well, follow us for the present. We got depths going on right now.
Yeah.
Our biggest project ever.
Yeah. No kidding.
There you go. There you go. And those links for both these gentlemen and myself and everything else are located within the description of this video. So make sure you check out that Kickstarter. It's good stuff. With that being said, I do want to let you know that excuse me, this episode of And I Quote is indeed powered by our good friends over there at Poddex. Now, Poddex are the hottest new tool for podcasters looking to have more meaningful conversations or gamify their podcast. You simply shuffle up the cards, you ask a question, and you let the content roll. Get yours today at poddex.com and use code Ryan10, that's RYAN10, for 10% off your order. You're not going to miss out on that opportunity. So, Dalton, Poddex wants to know, what's your guilty pleasure?
Can I say that on air?
I mean, if you want to keep it PG and keep it family friendly, we're fine with that too.
It rhymes with Lynn's high.
No. My guilty pleasure is
Rob Schneider movies? No, I'm kidding.
Oh, that's not even a I can't even. No. Dan
Schneider shows.
I will say Dan Schneider shows are a bit of a nostalgic
monster of a human
pleasure.
being. Great TV.
Yes. I tend to just like to watch like bad, goofy stuff. All that, like I can't even say it's a guilty pleasure because I love like old 60s and 70s tokusatsu where like the suits are falling apart and it's just it's awful, but it's brilliant and I love it and it's art. Or I'll watch we were talking about Star Trek the animated series earlier. That show's technically just it's not very good, but I love listening to William Shatner try his best to understand what he's doing as a voice actor. And it's endlessly fascinating. So I don't know that I have a ton of guilty pleasures because I just revel in trash all day. That's why I'm working with Wells.
Thanks.
Boy, that sounds about right. Before I turn things over to Wells for his answer as to what his guilty pleasure is, a fun fact about Rob Schneider. He was in a movie about ninjas. It was specifically called Surf Ninjas with Ernie Reyes Jr.
That is a fun fact. I'm going to have to search. I'm going to have to look that up now.
It was a New Line Cinema movie, just like the Turtle movies were. So
great.
It's right in line with that.
That's awesome.
Feel free to look it up. It is streaming somewhere on the interwebs somewhere. Please look it up. It's called Surf Ninjas with Ernie Reyes Jr., Rob Schneider, and the late, great Leslie Nielsen.
Oh, damn.
Oh, wonderful.
Okay. Well, now I have to watch it.
It's fair enough.
Might want to look this up later. But Wells Thompson, what's your guilty pleasure, my man?
What's my guilty pleasure?
Yeah, because obviously we know it's not Schneider movies.
What's my guilty pleasure? What's my guilty pleasure?
I did not hit her. I told you. I did not. Oh, hi, Mark.
I love really bad movies. I collect awful, disgustingly terrible movies. This poster is signed. I saw it at a live show with Tommy Wiseau. And I have a copy of the script somewhere around here. Sometimes to make myself pick myself up, I will just open it and start reading until I laugh. But yeah, no, I love terrible movies. I love Plan 9 from Outer Space, The Room, Birdemic, Shock and Terror, Batman and Robin, Troll 2.
Bad art is still art.
But they are all so revealing in such specific ways. There's a beauty and a passion to each one of them. Sometimes in the case of like Batman and Robin, that's like corporate greed, but it's still deeply enjoyable corporate greed. It is bad and schlocky, and not even schlocky. That because there are things that are schlocky.
Uma Thurman's the goat.
It is bad. It is 100% terrible. There are no redeeming qualities to it, but it's a specific flavor of bad that you can just roast it. You can just have a beer and laugh your ass off at all the little details that went wrong.
All the ice puns. Yeah.
Oh my god, the ice puns.
Those are great. What are you talking about?
The ice puns? You don't know what an ice pun is?
I know. I love puns.
Droogs.
It's great.
There are.
It was he got paid $1 million per pun in that movie.
That's
so
awesome.
Schwarzenegger got paid like $35 million or something.
I wish I could get paid for puns.
No, yeah. Schwarzenegger, I think, is the only person in that movie that knew what movie he was in. He
really?
He's perfect.
Yeah.
He's perfect. No, I mean, there are so many little background details that make no sense. The fact that Alicia Silverstone is supposed to be from London does not even attempt a British accent. I mean,
exactly.
It's beautiful. It is art in the worst way. There's so much There's so much bad
At
art
least
out there,
Robin
and
said the line that some of us were thinking when we were watching that movie when she knocks on the door and he answers it. Please be looking for me. I mean, it's Alicia Silverstone in her prime, so
it's fair enough. But The Room has special place in my heart for The Room.
Oh, hi, Mock.
It's so good. It's so good.
I've never seen that movie, Wells.
It's okay. See it with a crowd.
Oh, see it with a crowd.
100%. Don't see it by yourself.
Okay.
See it with as many people as you can. If possible, see it like in a movie theater.
Okay.
Where you can throw spoons at the screen, Rocky Horror style. Like,
if possible, see it with Tommy Wiseau.
And he will give you a show.
Yeah.
He will tell you all about it. He will tell you why he still thinks it's good. He is a deeply strange human being, but a deeply passionate one.
Sounds about right. You are tearing me apart, Lisa. Anyhow,
beautiful.
By the way, fun fact. I don't want to go too much into this. We could talk more about this in the backstage area of the studio. But they are having a showing of The Room with Greg. Is it Greg Sestara? Greg Sestara?
Yeah, I forget his name.
Yeah, he's going to be there at the screening, so I should probably end up going to that because then I can text you on my phone and be like, "Yo, Wells, I took your advice. I'm at the movies with a crowd, and Greg Sestara is here with us."
Oh, you should totally do it. Yeah, no, 100%. It's
all right. Well, it's coming up soon, so I'll have to shoot you a DM or shoot you an email.
For sure.
But anyway, aside from that, our good friends over here at Poddex want to know, Wells can take this one first. What's your favorite gadget?
It's my favorite gadget?
Yeah, it could be anything. Could be your phone, could be a computer.
Oh, like in real life.
In real life. Yeah.
I thought you were like from a James Bond movie or from Batman.
I mean, if you want to go into a James Bond movie, go right ahead.
No,
I grew up on James Bond, so why the heck not?
Fair enough. I think my favorite gadget. I mean, like,
fiction and nonfiction. Let's go with that.
We're just talking about like useful day to day. It's the phone, 100%.
The phone.
I'm trying to think if there's anything in particular like in my house that qualifies as a gadget. I'm a very low tech kind of person. I'm very stone age in a lot of ways. Nothing in my house is smart. If I put a gun next to my printer in case it makes a sound that I don't like. That being said, okay, actually I do have an answer for this.
Yeah.
And I do have a camera move for it as well.
Do you? Great. That means we get to put you on the big screen for the third time.
So this guy right here, I'm going to move it out of the way. This little machine right here
yes.
Makes my entire life so much easier. It is a thermal printer. It allows me to print shipping labels without spending a fortune. It's the only thing that makes comics viable as an independent business. I highly encourage everyone to invest in one if you're ever shipping out any amount of packages.
The more you know. Dalton, what's your favorite gadget?
Shit.
I think we stumped Dalton.
I don't know. Like Wells, I don't use a lot of gadgets.
Okay.
Or thingamajigs.
Oh, dude, how is it not your tablet? Like
my tablet's dead.
Oh yeah,
is it? Okay, never mind.
No, I used to have a Microsoft Surface Pro that I used as like a mobile workstation. I could draw on it and I could use it to write, and it finally just crapped out on me. And even then, I was pushing it well beyond what it needed to be used for. So like it held out longer than it should have, honestly. And I don't even use my phone that much. I despise social media, even though I shouldn't for marketing purposes. And I literally just have like text and Google reluctantly on my phone. So I guess one of my favorite gadgets might be my massive printer because I can actually scan in 11 by 17 Bristol board that I draw on, and then I can like scan it into the program, or I can make a copy. It's come in clutch many times to be able to scan in pages that big. So that's nice, I guess. Also, the Lazy Susan in the kitchen's fun to just twirl it.
Oh, right. Yes. The Lazy. And once again, we are talking with the co-writers of Depths, a graphic novel, which is currently blowing up the interwebs on Kickstarter. Dalton Shannon and Wells Thompson are here with us on this episode of And I Quote. Don't forget to like and share this episode with all of your closest friends. If you have any questions for these kind gentlemen, let us know in the comments. Let us know in the chat, whether it's live or on the replay. We welcome any and all comers. With that being said...
Oh, and I did like Gadget from Chippendale Rescue Rangers. She was cool.
Hey, there's a show I remember fondly as a kid. Yeah. By the way, the theme song, so
Girl
good.
slaps.
So good. It wasn't the theme song good. Theme song was
Oh,
good. I thought it
good.
was.
It's good. I
Like
liked it.
dog and that one and Darkwing Duck. Ow,
It's
Darkwing
great.
Duck. DW. I mean, when there's trouble, you call DW, not Wells Thompson.
That's
But anyway, that is
No
true.
one should call me if there's trouble.
no,
I am not
never.
useful.
No.
That's the last phone number I want to dial. But with that being said, our good friends here at Poddex want to know, Dalton, what is one item, because we don't need to go too far into this, but what is one item that's left on your bucket list?
One item that's on my bucket list.
Could be anything you want to do.
Oh man. I'm
Bucket list.
I'm pretty boring. I honestly would as the tokusatsu weeb that I am, I would love to go to Japan and stay in the Godzilla hotel with the massive Godzilla head on top. I think that would be the coolest thing in the world, and Alexis, my wife, would begrudgingly be like, "Okay, honey, this is for you." She's like, "I don't get it. I see manga and anime everywhere, and all I want is a good thing of sushi." And I'm like, "That's great, honey. We'll get it after the hotel."
It's funny though. Real quick though, favorite Godzilla movie.
I mean, it's easy to say the original Gojira and Shin Godzilla was really, really good, but I have a soft spot in my heart for is it All Monsters Attack? The one where it's often regarded as the worst Godzilla movie, so I might be a contrarian, but it came out in 1969. It was I believe it was Ishi Tsuburaya's last time doing any. He's the special effects guy who did all the Godzilla stuff. But it's about it takes place in our world, not Godzilla's world. So it's a little boy who loves Godzilla so much, and he gets bullied all the time, and he just imagines like being on Monster Island with his friends, all the monsters and stuff. It's really cute. It's really sweet, and it's just about this boy who gains confidence through his heroes on Monster Island, and he meets Godzilla's son, Minya, and they have a lot of fun. It's wacky. It's definitely for 5-year-olds, and it makes me feel really good. So I recommend All Monsters Attack. It's also called Godzilla's Revenge in some places. So if you can get through the kitschy late 60s, they use a lot of stock footage too, so they hardly did anything new with the movie. Made as cheaply as possible, but I have a lot of fun with it. Super heartfelt.
Mm-hmm. Wow, gotta have to keep that in mind. What about you, Wells? What's one of the items left on your bucket list?
I want to swim with a whale shark. Like that's my dream, is to just swim right next to a really big boy. Yeah, no, I think, and I could. Alternatively, I could be in like a cage and like see a great white or something like that. But that ultimately, when I think of like what I want to do, I want to swim next to a really big boy, and those guys are beautiful, and I nerd out. If you've ever seen, like, I don't know have you ever been to an aquarium with me, Dalton? I don't know.
Why would I ever do that?
I don't know.
Why would Dalton go anywhere with Wells?
That's true. We're not friends. No.
Is it work related? Then no, you're not making me do that.
No, anyone who's ever been to an aquarium with me knows that if there's a shark in there, I am laser focused on it. I will talk to it. I will call it baby, and it's a lifelong love of mine. So
I'm there for the octopi.
There you go. So in the words of Bruce Wayne, Arthur Curry, I hear you can talk to fish.
Yeah.
See, there you go. There you go, more or less. So, goodness gracious, man. In the words of Roy Scheider, you're going to need a bigger boat. So, with that being said, Wells, what is your most treasured possession?
That would be this guy. This is a terracotta paw print of my late cat Darcy, who changed my life. So much so that I got that same paw print tattooed on my body.
There you go.
So yeah, that is, I keep that with on my desk nearby at all times. Yeah, absolutely. He was a massive, like 11-pound orange cat, and that was skin and bones, 11 pounds. and made me a better, more gentle person just by knowing him.
Wow. Very, very heartfelt. Very heartfelt. Definitely. And yes, we do appreciate you sharing that with us. Dalton, what about you? What's your most
My
treasured
wife.
Oh, no.
No,
You're gonna
no,
pull John Wick on us here?
I'm kidding. No. My most prize, I don't know. I have a lot of things, and I don't know that I prize any of them. I mean, I love my comic collection, but
Dalton, it's Ridley. Just give me this. It's Ridley. It's Ridley.
Wells got me a massive perler bead art of Ridley from Metroid, and it's pretty dank. It was a great wedding gift. He also got me a Samus body pillow, like unprovoked. Unprovoked.
No, it wasn't unprovoked. It was a gift for being what is it, groomsman.
Oh yeah, you got everybody pillows, and mine just happened to be a Samus.
To be a body pillow, yeah.
Yeah. Alexa still can't stand that thing.
But it's in your house.
Not in Green Bay right now. The apartment's too small.
I'm so upset. I'm so upset with you.
Prized possession. I mean, I have a lot of comics I really like, but I don't know. I'm attached to a lot of things, but I wouldn't consider any of them prized by any means. Oh wait, you know what?
Oh, he does have something now.
I've got this stuffed tiger right here.
Oh, he's Tigger.
Yeah, this is when I was a kid, I was obsessed with Calvin and Hobbes, and I also happened to have a stuffed Tigger from Winnie the Pooh, and so I grabbed this guy, and he was my Hobbes all throughout my childhood, and probably even past when I should have. But I've carried him around with me ever since. Yeah, he's pretty cool. I like him.
Oh, this Tigger! I had the pleasure of meeting Jim Cummings, who voiced Winnie the Pooh and Tigger and Darkwing Duck and a billion of other characters.
Yeah. Jim Cummings, great.
Jim Cummings is awesome, and if you ever get a chance to meet him at a con, you should. Definitely should. I'm just throwing that out there. But thank you once again for sharing that with us. We are talking with Dalton Shannon and Wells Thompson of the new graphic novel known as Depths on this episode of And I Quote. Don't forget to like and share this with all of your closest friends. And if you have any questions for these gentlemen, whether it's comments or, put them in the comments, put it in the chat. Whether you're watching this live on the replay, thank you for being with us. Now, Dalton, if you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
Are you stupid? Nothing. What?
Nothing.
No.
You're perfect in every way.
I would definitely just exercise the ADHD. I have lost so many years of my life to I can't focus on any, like, the only way I can be creative is manic episodes of creativity followed by months of nothing, because I have to, my brain, unless it's interested in it, isn't gonna latch onto it and do anything with it. So I really wish that I could get rid of that so that I could be normal and be like, oh, you guys can focus on things. That's fantastic. I wish I could.
Gotcha. What about you, Wells? If you could change one thing about yourself, what would it be?
I think.
Can I answer this for him?
Shut up. I would like to. I'd like to be able to just like calm the fuck down every now and then.
High strung, are we?
No, I get very focused, and I want to like accomplish a lot. I'm a very ambitious person, I'm a very driven person, and it's taken me places, and I'm proud of that about myself. But also, but like when I don't live up to those standards, a lot of the times I wind up being really hard on myself, and I don't take stock of the things in my life that are going well and that are like provably better than they were, 5-10 years ago. So even though I'm not overall where I'd like to be, creative in a like professional sense, that doesn't mean that my life is like garbage and that I've wasted my 20s or whatever. So yeah, I'd like to be a little kinder to myself, I think is what I would change.
Okay. There you go. That's, That makes sense. I could see where you're coming from with that. Well, I do want to take this opportunity to say thank you to both Dalton Shannon and Wells Thompson for being our guests on this episode of And I Quote. Gentlemen, thank you so much for being here. Dalton, where can the person watching or listening to this follow you on social media, Dalton?
When I deign to use it, you can find me just about anywhere at Dalton K. Shannon on all those socials that matter. I've got a website that needs updating, but once again, the ADHD forgets most of the time. But mostly you can find me and my work on whatever Kickstarter we're doing. Depths is live on Kickstarter right now. You can get it all throughout the month of May. And I believe, you can get all the back issues that we've done. Frankenstein, Megaton, all sorts of goodies. Kickstarter. There you go.
Fantastic. Thank you, sir, for being here. Wells Thompson, good sir. Where can the person watching or listening to this follow you on social media?
So I am on Twitter at Wells Thomp, WELLSTHOMP. Just cut off the last 3 letters of my last name. And I will be there until it is officially dead. It is merely dying right now, so I'm still there. I am on TikTok at Wells Thompson, and you can find my website, wellsthompson.com, where you can keep up with whatever I'm working on at the time. You'll find a big link to the Depths Kickstarter there now. Other than that, I have a newsletter called Comics, Cats, and Cocktails, where we talk about all those things. Those would be the big places to hit me up.
Giddy up. Well, thank you so much, kind sir, for being with us. We do greatly appreciate it. My name is Ryan of Neuroculture. Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at RyanRPM5. Make sure you check us out on all forms of social media. Those are located within the description of this video, as well as where you can follow our guests, Dalton and Wells. Their social media is located within the description of this video. Lots of great things coming your way very soon, but I do want to remind you, we are this close to hitting 1,000 subscribers on this very channel. Once we do, we're going to throw a big celebration live stream with returning favorites, some new guests that are going to be joining us, and also we're going to have some special giveaways just for you, our incredible audience, our incredible subscribers. Thank you so much for supporting us up to this point. We greatly appreciate it. Also, Star Wars Day is right around the itty bitty little corner on the corner of Know Your Road Boulevard and Jabroni Drive. May the 4th be with you at 8 p.m. Eastern Time right here on this very YouTube channel and Facebook across all forms of social media. Going to be doing a great Star Wars Day celebration with some very special guests, and I am very excited to have them here and celebrate all things Star Wars with us. Also, our next movie anniversary watch-along also happens to be Star Wars related. It is Return of the Jedi's 40th anniversary on May the 25th. I believe that is a Thursday night at 8 p.m. Eastern Time on our social media, so make sure you bookmark that. Get ready. The link has been posted on our YouTube channel as well as our Facebook. And very special guest is coming to And I Quote on Thursday night, May the 11th at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. The question is, who could it possibly be? Is it somebody who was a voiceover artist in Chippendale Rescue Rangers? Is it somebody who was a voiceover in one of those other popular shows of the 90s, maybe the early 2000s? Maybe it was one of Dan Schneider's projects. I don't flipping know. You got to tune in and you got to find out, because all will be revealed in time. That is what is going on with us here at Neuroculture Channel and on And I Quote. Once again, thank you all for being here. Don't forget to like, comment, share, subscribe, smash that notification bell so you get notified of our new videos go up. And in the meantime, stay healthy, stay strong, stay safe, and remember, life is better when reading. Take a look.
Famous Faces and Funnies in Melbourne, Florida is leading the way in pop culture fun. From comic books and graphic novels to Funko Pops and collector's items, Famous Faces and Funnies has it all. Rick Shea and the professional team at Famous Faces and Funnies are friendly and knowledgeable. Whether you're looking for toys, props, collector treasures, or a new comic book, Famous Faces and Funnies is your one-stop shop. To find Famous Faces and Funnies on Facebook and Twitter, just type at FFF Comics.
Sweet dreams they placed on me inside my mind. Chance my truth, twist the past, my memories are fading fast. do you want me to be? Am I still me?
Author Cindy Kep is writing on the edge. Books include Remnant in the Stars, The Loudest Actions, Lines of Succession, Mindstorm, Condemned Courier, the Yerushalayim series, and Animal Eye. Find author Cindy Kep at CKOEPP.com today.
Choose high-flying action. Choose death-defying escapes. Choose spine-tingling thrills. Choose nail-biting intrigue. Now's your chance to choose the adventure. The Captain Hawkland Adventures. Available on Amazon.com. You've worked hard and written a great book. Now, it's time to give it a great cover. If you're an indie author or small press publisher, Plasmafire Graphics is your source for affordable cover illustration and graphic design. Plasmafire Graphics, when the look of your book matters to you.
Good morning! Oh, and in case I don't see you, good afternoon, good evening, and good night.